Hi, welcome back to the channel. Today we're revisiting the Dell Inspiron 1501. After the motherboard swap, everything has been pretty stable. So you can see right here I have Windows 11 running on my Dell Inspiron 1501. It is a tweak, but it does work really well. Now, sadly, the Dell is using the stock hard drive. It's a 80 gigabyte 5400 spinning drive, and it does surprisingly do better than I expected with Windows 11. But because I did think that the motherboard died, I did put the 1 terabyte SSD in the Dell Inspiron 15 from 2023, I believe it's from. So you can see right here, this is the desktop, and I'm going to show you the specs right here. So this is the CPU. This is an upgraded CPU. This motherboard, the original motherboard came with an Athlon, and I did get the Turon 64. The LT60 is a 2 gigahertz CPU, so it's a slightly better system, and it does improve comparing the 1.7 Athlon to the 2 gigahertz Turon. I did notice a difference in speed. You can see the temperatures right here. Not too bad. It will go down a little bit more, but with the new thermal paste, I haven't seen too bad of temperatures that would be alarming. So that's why I have kept the Athlon 2 gigahertz in here. Task Manager open. You can see my utilization and my clock speed. Everything looks pretty decent. I do see the processes sometimes hit in the low 90s. And you can see right here, memory, we have 6 gigabytes. And I have available 4.3 gigs with 130 megabytes reserved for the graphics. So everything's pretty good. I didn't even mess with the paging because it being a hard drive, I don't want to put too much strain on it. Obviously, my system is going to be tweaked in a way that Windows 11 does respond better to the older hardware. And I do recommend, if you do have a computer that is not supported, I do believe Windows 11 now grants you that ability, so you don't have to do the registry or any other hacks. It should just work. And if it doesn't, there's plenty of videos on YouTube. It is a little bit of a learning curve because there's certain things you have to do, but it is well worth it. So what I'm about to show you is a video purposely set to 360p. The native resolution of this display is 1280 by 800, so roughly 720p. One thing I like about this machine compared to my Power Mac G5, and when I did own the PowerBook G4 and the iBook G4, the Mac Mini, the Intel ones, the GPU itself would struggle in the native OS that it did support unless you did the hacks, which I never did because that wasn't a thing at the time. Even with my Power Mac G5, YouTube was usable to a degree. This display at 1280 by 800, I can play the video. You can see right now it doesn't probably look as good. I can't do screen recording, sadly. I cannot get the Windows recording to work. But if I go over here and then change to 720p, let it buffer, and it does look relatively sharp and nice. When you zoom in, you can see the pixels, obviously, because it's a camera. But the actual picture itself, the colors, everything does look pretty good for its age. This is a display from 2007. And you can see the frame rates look pretty good. Nothing too bad. Obviously, if you compared it to a newer computer, it probably would look a little bit slower. But it does look pretty decent. So besides using YouTube and the browser for certain things on this computer, I do like taking advantage of games from the late 90s and mid 2000s. I like to see how they run on here because of the GPU being surprisingly strong enough for a lot of games. So this being more like a tycoon game, it's going to probably be more CPU heavy than GPU, but this is native resolution. I am in 1280 by 800 and it does do surprisingly well. Windows 11 can be cumbersome when it comes to trying to get older games to run in native support, meaning newer GPUs and CPUs. Sometimes it can just be overwhelming. or if it's DirectX 9, something like that can be a little bit cumbersome with Windows 11 in general. With the 1150 Express GPU from ATI, it's an integrated graphics card. It doesn't do too bad with a lot of games from this era. So this is Driver Parallel Lines, released in 2007. And you can see that the ATI Express 1150 is able to do it, but just barely. There is a lot of delay. I can feel it. You can kind of see it even. I do have this at a lot lower resolution, and you can see the frame rates do pick up and do drop. So if this was running under Windows XP, more than likely this would do significantly better. I do want to try this out. Luckily, on my main machine, it should run because this is the GOG version. So I'm excited to see comparing this game to Driver 76 on the PSP. Before I end this video, I do want to show you this is the original motherboard that was dead for a few months. I was hanging on to it because of the original CPU. I didn't have a place to put it. And I did do a lot to this. I cleaned it multiple times. I changed the CPUs from the Athlon to the Turon, different RAM, anything you could think of. No RAM, no hard drive, anything, and it would not work. And in the video that you guys saw, the fan would go to 100%. The lights that are on top of the power button area were flashing or were not on, and it would just turn off. So I'm going to show you what it does now. So because I don't want to rip apart the other computer to get the certain components to get this thing to turn on, I'm going to use my screwdriver to bridge the power button so that the computer will turn on. And you can see right there, Dell BIOS. And then it will go here because there is no hard drive installed. The wildest thing that the motherboard still works. But with that, leave your comments down below. Let's have a discussion, and I'll see you in the next one.